What's up, guys? Vibe O'Clock here. This is my first keyboard video, and a little backstory of my journey with keyboards is I have a lot. I've bought all the wrong things, so I thought that maybe I should post some videos on my channel just talking about how I think about keyboards, how the keyboard industry has changed, and why I think right now is one of the best times to really get into the keyboard hobby, especially with the holiday season coming around the corner. Keyboards are super practical. You're going to use them your whole life. And you're going to use them for work, for play, for creative aspirations, for really anything in life that you're running into, because the day and age where you're using a pen and paper to write out your ideas is a little bit obsolete these days, versus the speed that you get with the keyboard. And when you improve your keyboard typing speed, it can lead to more opportunities, such as becoming a transcriptionist or whatever, finding a side hustle. But overall, it's a hobby of mine. I enjoy it. And like I said, I learned from a lot of my mistakes. But my style is going to be, I'm going to be doing one takes. And I'm going to just tell you why I decided to go with try out these three keyboard. What was I looking for, and where I think you should be spending your money. So my requirements was that I wanted a gasket mounted keyboard, meaning between the case and where it connects. This one's easy to show you guys. How the board connects is there's no direct contact. There's this pieces of plastic or silicone or whatever dampening material that stops the board from making a physical contact, and instead they're making contacts with the grommets. That results in a softer typing experience, and it's supposed to add flex to the keyboard. I don't know if you can see it here, but if I press down really hard on this keyboard, it has a flex. It's bending inside. It's not damaging the keyboard per se. It's actually what a lot of enthusiasts love with the keyboard, when you can get this level of flex. And this, so also, I was looking for something with wireless capabilities. 2.4 gigahertz technology as well as Bluetooth technology has come a long way. I wouldn't ever recommend gaming on Bluetooth per se, but with these new Bluetooth encodings, or however they connect to the PC, it's gotten a lot better. But in all reality, if you're using a dongle to connect to your PC, you're going to have limited impacts in your gaming experience or latency in general, where it won't be noticeable. So that's why, I just thought that having a wireless keyboard is future-proof. You can travel with it. You can have it in your lap. You can play Xbox with it. And there's no need for wires, right? Who likes wires anymore? I have this wire right here that I use for my Q3, but this is an exception. I think this is one of the only metal keyboards I'll ever get for this price point, because I didn't have to spend an arm and leg for it. It came pre-built. I had it in my own switches. And it's just such a nice, sturdy keyboard that'll last me a while, and a good reference for any other keyboard that I'll try in the future. So let's get right into it. I have the DIERYA right here, and it's the DIERYA. It's the DIERYA T83, and I'll show you the Amazon link right here. So this thing's only $60 right now. At the time of the video, it's Halloween right now. It's $60. Comes with keycaps that are pudding. They're terrible. Literally, guys, they're not good. They look cool. They come with keycaps. So if you have an old RGB keyboard and you want to make it as a display piece, so you put mount it or something, it's a good idea to maybe swap them out and use these keycaps for that. But don't use it as your main typing. If it's the only keycaps I ever had as a kid, I wouldn't be mad. I'll be honest. They're not terrible. They have some type of groove in them, as you can see, where it'll kind of cup your hand a little bit and kind of have that OEM style. But overall, it's not good. But one thing that's good that comes with this kit that's pre-built is that you can pick your switches. You can pick red and browns. I went with browns because lubed switches make a huge difference. But I think that brown switches, in my opinion, have a nice kind of nostalgic feel to them, whether they're lubed or not. And I think that if I did choose to lube them, they'll have more results than a red would. And it's just nice to have switches that come with your keyboard, because you never know if you want to save money by, you know, say you wanted to spend money on only these white keys, right? They see here, the main keys of the keyboard that you type on every day. But you don't want to spend money on the brown, like on the F rows or all these rows over here. You can definitely save a good amount of money by just buying, you know, say one pack of switches versus having to invest in a lot of like 2-3 packs that you have left over. So again, you know, this keyboard is a DIERYA. I'm putting on my own keycaps on it. They look pretty cool, and they sound so much better when you put on different keycaps, right? Like, I wanted to give up on this keyboard initially, but then I decided to keep it because it just had so much of a better feel once I put on loop switches in it from the Q3, actually, the MX Pro Reds that are factory lubed, and they sound so much better. I did put in O-rings as well, on the stabs, right, and on the actual keyboard, but overall, they're not necessary. They didn't do too much. This keyboard was solid. Like, I was pressing the space bar and I was like, man, this space bar has some really good factory stabs in it, and it has a really nice uniformity. So one fun fact about this keyboard is that, and why I said it's the best time to buy a keyboard right now, is that it's a GMK Pro knockoff, which is like almost a $200 keyboard. That keyboard is metal, but it has the same layout where, and this is important, guys, because if a popular keyboard and a popular layout is right, you know, like the GMK Pro is in the market, you're gonna find keycaps that are easier. Like you see, this is a control key, and most keyboards have a long shift right here on the right. And this keycap was a standard, same size as this one, so I couldn't find the right keycaps. But if you did decide to go with this keyboard and invest in some keycaps that you can find on Amazon, it might be worth your while, because it's gonna be easier to find this style, this compact style, for a popular keyboard. And like I said, this is a knockoff of a GMK Pro, and it's a knockoff of a knockoff, which is the KEYCHRON. Oh, sorry, the KEYCHRON right here. The KEYCHRON is a keyboard that is getting a lot of popularity, and it comes with a polycarb plate, and it doesn't come with switches, it doesn't come with keycaps. But like I said, I mean, maybe it's worth your money if you didn't already have keycaps and you were going to invest in a keyboard anyways. But I think that $40 for this outweighs the $100 for this, because all you're really getting with this that's different from this keyboard is that you're getting a polycarb plate. And in my future video, I will be doing a mod by adding a polycarb plate onto this keyboard, so be on the lookout for that. Moving on, I went on YouTube, I went on you know, Amazon, I went on these like keyboard review videos and whatnot, and they're just talking about this keyboard that's called the EPOMAKER TH80. It comes with keycaps, it comes with lube switches. The keycaps are super thick, they have a nice look to them. They're really good for kids that are learning to type because the font is so huge. Just look at this, right? The font is so much bigger than this font, and it's gonna be really good for kids that are learning how to type. Overall, this keyboard's great. I might go with a different model, and here's why. So this keyboard, like I said, comes with blacks, and it's a great keyboard. Like, the layout is cool. It has a smaller shift button, like the DIERYA one does, and I like how the delete keys are here, because having the backspace and delete right next to each other, you know, it's kind of nice. Of course, you can rebind any of these keys on these keyboards to do that same thing, but pre-factory, having it right here is pretty nice. And one cool thing is that, you know, with the knob, when you press the button, it mutes. With this, it doesn't. It will just press play and pause, and I can fix that through software. But it's kind of nice that, you know, say you're playing games when you're working, right? And then all of a sudden someone calls you and you want to mute real quick. It's really nice to have a keyboard that has that functionality. And the knob in general is game changer. You know, one of my requirements I didn't mention earlier is that I wanted a wireless keyboard with a knob. Knobs changed my life. When I was using this G915, I think. I was using this keyboard as my main driver because it's a low compact. It's super nice to travel with. Has brown switches in it. They're nice and clacky. You know, they're okay. And the reason why I love this keyboard so much is having the scroll wheel. But there's so many times where, I needed to mute, and yeah, I can press this, but it doesn't have a nice tactile feel versus having a concrete button that clicks, right? So this is a great keyboard, but I was looking for something different. But I was addicted that it had a scroll wheel and it was wireless. Anyways, let's get to why I do not recommend the TH80. There's inconsistencies with sound. And there's no flex. The case is a little bit jankier, right? You have to damage the case a little bit to open it. And I think that it's unacceptable, to be honest. And the fact that people are rating this as the #1 keyboard, yes, I could have a defective model. But at the end of the day, if you're rating this as the #1 keyboard, it has to have one thing for me, which is uniform sound. But this keyboard does not have that. Let me demo, for instance. Just in here, and then I'm gonna type on this side. It sounds nice. It's muted, right? Has a nice feel to it. But look at this, guys. I'm not going crazy, right? When I say this, but there's inconsistencies with the left side and the right side, predominantly this key right here that you're gonna be using a lot. So listen to this. Hear how much more clanky it is? Like, kind of sounds cheap. And this side sounds magical. Right? And let me play them together. They don't sound the same. Like when you're in a school cafeteria and you hear a bunch of voices at the same time, it kind of sounds terrible. That's what it sounds like. Let's hear the Q3 and why I think uniformity is a huge thing to consider when you're buying a cheaper keyboard is because this won't happen in a high quality build. Right? It sounds pleasant. Sounds good? You guys hear it, right? So do not get this keyboard. I know they make other keyboards. Maybe get their keycaps. They're pretty good. Yes, I've tried swapping in keycaps and it didn't make a difference. But just because I have it in front of me, I'm going to try this keyboard, see if it has uniform sound. It does. Again, this is a small detail, but it's very important to understand that when you're buying a keyboard, you're investing this money, and you're trying to be an enthusiast, you might mod it, you might get into the hobby. Don't buy a keyboard that has an ununiform sound because it's going to drive you crazy if you're, adding all these mods and then all of a sudden like this side of the keyboard sounds different than this side. It's going to not be good. So nothing really beats this keyboard in my opinion. The pricing of it's amazing. The look of it's cool. It has case LEDs that I can turn on. And overall, it's a good value for your money. So, yeah. Overall, though, this is the keyboard that I would recommend to everyone right now. It has a lot of the bells and whistles that you would expect from a keyboard right now, in my opinion. It has a gasket mount. You can add flex by doing some mods to the case. The case is super easy to open. A lot of YouTubers say the same thing. You can swap in your own switches, put in your own keycaps. Again, the only thing to keep in mind is that you will need a shorter shift key on the right side versus this normal size. You'll need a shorter one. And then, you can figure out these keys later. But one thing to note is that if your case has this groove right here, you can add your own knobs. Not enough YouTubers are talking about it, but when you add your own knobs, it just adds this different layer to it. And these are guitar knobs you can buy on Amazon. And this actually has a real bullet inside of it. And I love it. And you can also buy a bigger knob, like in this Q3. It's a little excessive, but it's all about that big knob energy, right? So I put on my own knob here that I bought on Amazon. It's about $10. It adds this layer of, but overall, keyboard market's doing really good right now. There's a billion keyboards out there. It's hard to say which one out of these three I love the most. I know I hate this one the most. I'm about to return it, which is why I'm making this video. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go for something that will last, 20 years, it'll be like a family heirloom, go with something metal. Nothing really beats the case quality. There's a lot more mods you can do to it that are subtle, like tape mod or whatever. It has a nice low sturdiness. The only problem is that this one has to be wired, but it's a nice keyboard for the value of the money that you're going to be spending. It comes pre-built. This one overall though, via potential, like I said, I got it for 40 bucks. It could sound just as good as any other keyboard out there. Definitely go with the DIERYA and try it out. It's a KEYCHRON clone, if you heard about the KEYCHRON, and I will be getting a polycarb plate for it eventually. I just had it. I will eventually be getting a polycarb plate that I got from the GMMK Pro, and I got it for Amazon on sale for about 15 bucks. So I'm about to get a free KEYCHRON for less than 100 bucks. This is 40 bucks. I put in 20 bucks, and that's basically what a KEYCHRON is, right? You're getting it for 60 bucks. You're getting a big discount. So the sizing should fit. Everything should be the normal. I'm waiting for PE foam so I can put in a layer of PE foam between the polycarb plate and the mount. But overall, it's a great keyboard that has potential. Future video that I'll be modding this keyboard. Again, right now it has the MX Pro Reds, and they sound great, guys. Like, it's just so muted. The spacebar is really nice. The Bluetooth technology is good. I've had 0 issues, and the capacity of the battery is a lot higher than the one of the TH80. So avoid this keyboard. I love the keycaps if you want the keycaps. And I think they sell for like 15-20 bucks. So again, 40 bucks, 20 bucks for keycaps. So you love the keycaps on this one. And then, you're not spending 100 bucks to 85 bucks on this one. Just don't do it. The case is nice because it's solid, but it doesn't have the same weight and sturdiness and uniform sound signature as this one does. So definitely go with this one. But yeah, that's my video today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I am terrible with video editing, so I probably will be doing this format of just having a one take and walking through what I feel about it. But yeah, subscribe if you guys want more, especially when I'm going to be modifying this keyboard with the polycarb plate, seeing if it's better than the KEYCHRON. A kind of absurd $100 pricing for the same thing that you can get for 40 bucks. Comes with keycaps, comes with switches. I can buy a polycarb plate myself for 20 bucks. But yeah, one thing to note is that this will not fit. This knob, these guitar knobs that you can get, for your guitar, will not fit on this because the stem is a little bit smaller and there's no groove to go inside of it. So the contact of the knob, it will be too high usually when you're looking at guitar knobs or for modification. So just something to consider. I'll be making a separate video on knobs eventually, and I've tried a couple, and I think that's the future of adding functionality to your keyboard, because a lot of knobs are cheap quality, like the sides are plastic, but when you get a nice guitar knob, like that's all metal. And it has the same functionality. This one has metal grips. It's bigger. I feel like if I'm making music or doing whatever editing, I can have a little bit more control over it because it's big, right? It doesn't really interfere with the other keys because I wanted it purposely higher, right? And then this plastic part is really nice to feel too. So yeah, thanks guys. Cheers.